Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the part 2 of conditional looping present in Python. In the first part, in the previous video, we have seen loop, or at least we have seen this flow diagram to illustrate how this loop work. We have also talked about what is for loop and how you can write in Python, write for loop in Python. And also we have seen how you can write all your for loop codes in one line, which we call as one-liner. And it's a very easy and handy way of writing code in Python, especially for loop. In this tutorial, we're going to discuss about other loops such as while loop. Okay, to give you the intuition, why do we need while loop? We need to go back to the previous video of for loop and let's recap that thing first. Then we will come back to the while loop, how you can use it and when you're going to use it, I will give you the example. So this is the example of for loop which we have seen in the previous video, and here we are saying there is a variable x and this variable has a list assigned to it, and this list has 7 elements. And when I say for, which is a keyword for the for, then I say I within in x variable and print I. And if you have seen my previous video, you know it will return all the elements that are present in x. So in the beginning of the code, I know how many iterations it's going to take before it moves to the next one. Okay, or next piece of code. If it is not clear, let me give you another example. For this, let me comment this one out by pressing Alt 3, and I can copy it here. And instead of x, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say range, which is another inbuilt function which take 2 arguments. So which is, let me write it down first, 0 and 3. So what I'm saying that it please give me a range which starts from 0th index and which will end with the last -1. So this will return 0, 1 and 2. So let me print it this one. Let me save it and run it. When I run it, you know, 0, 1, 2. If you don't provide the first argument and just provide the 3, by default this inbuilt function will take 0 as a first argument and it will return the same thing what we have seen in the previous one. Okay, so here we know this is this inbuilt function takes has 3 elements, 0, 1 and 2, because we are defining 0 to 3, so 3 elements. And in the beginning of the code, when I'm writing this one, I know this will take 3 steps or 3 iterations it's going to take. But what if sometimes I don't know in the beginning of the code how many iterations I need to take or I should take? So in that case, I have two options. Either I can define a very high number, let's say 3000 or 300k, and in that case it might solve your purpose, but you know, this much of space you are wasting it. Like sometimes it may converts before that also, you don't know that thing yet. So to avoid such kind of things, we generally use while loop. So let's go and see the syntax for while loop. So this is the syntax for while loop. When you say while, which is the keyword for the while, and some condition which is by default true. So it is by default true. Then true, sorry. Then you pass this colon, and you always keep the indentation, and here you pass your the body of while loop. Okay. Now, as this condition, this expression is by default true, we need to do something in the body of the while loop code itself so that it will become false after some iteration. So false after, let's say, xth iteration. Okay, or else if you don't do this thing, this while loop will run forever because this condition is true. Okay, as you have seen, some of the conditional loops such as while loop is bit difficult to deal with. We need control statement to ensure everything runs smoothly without any problem. And it's not like that you only use control statements for while loop. We use this control statement for other loops such as for loop, but because while loop is a bit difficult, and you know, if you don't take care of this condition to make it false after some iteration in the body of while loop, you will just run into infinite looping problem. And to avoid such circumstances, we generally use control statement in while loop more often as compared to any other loop such as for loop. I will give you the example in for loop as well, but I will mostly give you the example for while loop. And let's see all this control statement one by one. In the break statement, it will, when Python reach to this particular keyword break, it will break the loop and move to the next piece of code. So let's say we are defining a while loop, while some expression and semicolon, and we keep the indentation, and when we press break, when Python reach to this level, it will just break the while loop and move to the next piece of code which is the same indentation as while. In continue statement, when you say while, sticking to the last example and some condition, and you say continue, when Python reach to this level, it will just ignore all the lines after this continue, which is at same indentation, and move to the next iteration. Okay. Pass is bit similar to continue. The only subtle difference is that sticking to the same example, you say while some expression which is by default true, then colon, and you say pass, and it will just ignore this line and move to the next line. Okay, let's go to the Python shell and see some of the example for while. Also, we're going to see how you can use while loop along with this control statement. So here I am using the same value for x, and I have defined another variable I and assigned a value 0 to it. And here what I can do, say, let's say while, which is a keyword for while, and say I less than equal to len x minus 1, and here I can say print I. Okay, or I can say print x, and within the square bracket I will pass I. So here I will say I, whatever the value I will get, I will grab from here. I'm using that one as an index for the variable x. Okay, so here I'm saying until I is less than equal to len x here, which is 7 minus 1, which is 6. When I is less than equal to 6, print each of the item of the x. Okay, now if I will not do anything in the body of the while loop, here I is 0, and always this expression is true because I 0 is always less than equal to 6. So it will just run forever. Let me show you and run it. So when I say run it, you can see it will just keep on going. You are running like infinite time. In case if you run into such problem, just press Ctrl plus C. So in that case, in that way you can interrupt the that's called keyboard interruption, and you interrupt the loop, whatever it is, interrupt the any code of Python. So moving to the example here, we need to do something about it. So here I can say I plus equal to 1. So here I'm saying I'm increasing the value of I by 1 at every iteration. So after 6th iteration, the value of I would become 6, 7, and this expression going to be false. And so then the while loop will exit. Let me run it and we'll show you. So so after the 7th iteration, the value of I became 7, and this expression is false. So it just exit the while loop. Okay, let's see the example for break. So here I can say break. Let me comment this one out, and let me first copy this one and then comment it. And here I will say the same thing, but here what I'm going to do, if I will say if x ith index with whatever the value it is, if it is equal to 10, then break. Okay, and remaining things I'm just keeping everything as it is. Now when I run this one, you can see after the second iteration it exit. So the value of the first one is 1 and 2, and the third, and when I become 2, the x of 2 index, the value is 10. So whenever it reaches to 10, this line executed and it's saying break. So that's why the whole loop was actually broke, and then the Python moved to the next line. Here we haven't give anything, so that's why it's just break. If I say just print break, and if I just run it, you can see after second thing it just moved to the next piece of code, which is the same indentation as while. Okay, let's see example for continue statement. Continue. Let me copy this one out, and here I should copy this thing and comment this one as well, and here I can paste it, and instead of x what I can do, I will say I is equal to 3 when I will become 3, when the index of, here we are grabbing the index, right? So when index is equal to 3, I make the index 7, I 7, then here I can say continue, and here I will just increase the value of I with 1, then I can say print continue. So what here I'm doing, so in the first couple of iterations, the first one and second one, when I is less than equal to 3, it will print, sorry, I need to give a print here, or else you cannot see anything. Print x I, and uh, and when I is 1 0 1 and 2, it will print the value of x in that item, so it will print 1 2 and 10. But when I become 3, which is this one, this time when it should print 2, I will become 7 and become continue. Then I'm saying continue, so it will just break this, it will just move to the next iteration, and when it goes to next iteration I already become 7, so this thing become false and the whole loop will break. So if I will just run here, you can see 1 2 10 and continue. Let's see example for pass. So for this one, let me copy this thing. It would be more closer, and comment this one out, and for here I can say pass and uncomment this one. Okay, so if I will say pass, now what will happen? For the for when x of I is 10, so in this case when it is this one, it will move to the next one. So let me run it and say pass here. Okay, if I will just run it, you can say 1 2 10 2 3 4 and 5. So if I will go back, say 1 2 10 1 2 10 2 3 4 5, everything happens. So it just ignore everything printed, just it ignored this particular line. So pass it, just ignore this one and move to the next one, next line. Try and except block is not a conditional loop, but it goes very well with the while loop. So here you can say while and true. So this expression is true, that means this while loop will run forever, so infinite looping. And within this thing, in the body of the while loop, you can pass this try and except block. So in this try and except block, you say try, this keyword followed by a colon, then you write the code that what you want to do in normal situation. In case this doesn't work, don't show me an error, go to exit block and do this thing instead. Okay, I will give you the example, then it would be more clear to you. So sticking to the same value of x and I, here I can say while true, so this will run forever, true. And here I can say try, and here I will say print print x with index I, which I passed within the square bracket, and here I say except, and here say break. Okay, and here I need to increase the value of I with 1 at each iteration. So now if I just run it, you can see it did the 7th iteration, and after when I become 7, and in the 8th iteration this thing doesn't work because x of I, which value has 8, is null. It doesn't have any value because the length of x is only 7. So in that case it didn't happen, so Python will throw an error. So instead of doing this thing, it just moved to the except block, and here it's saying break. Let me show you, if I just don't give the try and except block and do the same thing as previous, what will happen? Print x, in the square bracket I will pass I, and here I can say I plus equal to 1. Oops. Okay, now let me comment this one out and show you. Save it and run it. You can see after the 7th iteration it's throwing me an error, but in try and except block I'm instead of throwing I'm asking Python not to throw me an error, but do this thing instead, which is break, and then it moves to the next piece of code, which is like this one. That's all for conditional looping. If you have any question till now, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. I will try to answer them with the best of my ability, or else thanks for watching. Please do like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please do that. Until next time, cheers.